E-commerce entrepreneurs think because they are small that they can't win the SEO game. And so it's a big, scary word. They don't know how to do it. I mean, how many e-commerce CEOs do you know? Really just business owners in general, right? Like they spend so much time, energy, and effort creating content for social that 3% of their audience sees and lasts for like 24 hours. And then it doesn't matter anymore. People don't buy products. They buy solutions, confidence, status, right? If they're a luxury shopper. But most of the time they're buying solutions. What does the customer need to know or understand to have a good experience with this product so that they come back and leave a positive review?
This podcast is brought to you by Bambassadors.com, the go-to platform for e-commerce brands to create video reviews that boost social proof and sales on TikTok and beyond. Get your first video review created and posted by a genuine creator, completely free, no strings attached, and no credit card required at Bambassadors.com.
Welcome to the EcomXFactor podcast, where it's all about launching and scaling your business using sales funnels, automations, and smart marketing. And now, please welcome your host, the founder of EcomXFactor, Yaron Bin.
Hi, Jessica. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Super excited to be here. I'm
also excited. So I'm looking forward to our conversation. For the listeners who don't know you, can you elaborate about your background story and what you're doing these days?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to go really far back that I used to sleep in my new shoes as a little girl. And the reason I share that is because it kind of sets the stage for everything else, right? Mm-hmm. So I worked in retail for 20 plus years, owned my own brick and mortar boutique back in the day. And then for the last 8, 9-ish years, something like that, I've been working in e-commerce. And what's interesting about, I had some e-commerce experience, like little small businesses and stuff, but my most recent day job, the first 3 years of having e-commerce, I was the only employee. And we were doing, over 7 figures because we had this built up brand already and stuff. And I cried a lot at that job because it was so hard and overwhelming, right? Like e-commerce is hard and overwhelming. And when you're the only person doing all of the things, it's a lot. So during that time, I got to work with a lot of consultants, which was awesome, right? People that the average e-commerce entrepreneur just doesn't get access to because they're so expensive. And while I obviously knew some stuff, I learned a whole lot more along the way. And it was actually when MailChimp and Shopify broke up a few years ago, which they just got back together, interestingly enough. But when that happened, I was in all of these entrepreneurial Facebook groups because I just loved being surrounded by that energy. And everyone was freaking out because they didn't know what to do. And I started talking to them about Klaviyo. That's my favorite email marketing platform. I had already been using it for 3 or so years in my day job. And people started reaching out to me and they're like, oh, I just switched to Klaviyo and I'm really overwhelmed. Can you help me? Or I've been on it for a little while, but I think all of my emails are going to the junk box. Can you help me? So I was like, all right, sure, I'll help. Like not even thinking that this was going to be a business or anything, right? But those first 2 people that I worked with, I remember being on calls with them and seeing their faces light up when I showed them the magic of email and solved the problem that they were having and made them more money in their business. And I was like, this is the coolest job ever. And as I started to talk to more and more e-commerce entrepreneurs and seeing the lack of knowledge in the space, right? There's so much out there for service-based businesses and informational businesses, like people who sell courses, but there's not a ton for product and e-com outside of the dropship model. So I just thought, I think I know some stuff. Let me see what I can do. And so it's been about 2.5 years. I don't know. It's all a blur that I've been serving, e-com entrepreneurs. And I focus a lot on email marketing and SEO, but I really want to teach e-commerce entrepreneurs how to read data, make educated decisions about their business, like take control, stop feeling like you're flying by the seat of your pants, and just like teach you the e-commerce puzzle. So that's kind of my story.
These are very important topics like SEO and emails, especially these days that people are like Facebook algorithm isn't really working. So a lot of people are waking up and saying, okay, maybe I should investigate an alternative channel. So normally when people come to you, what are they doing wrong with regards to the emails and the SEO?
The number one thing is they're just not doing it. They're really just not doing it. And I think it just comes from a lack of understanding and a lack of discussion in the market among whoever they're listening to, right? So, I mean, how many e-commerce CEOs do you know? Really just business owners in general, right? Like they spend so much time, energy, and effort creating content for social that 3% of their audience sees and lasts for like 24 hours. And then it doesn't matter anymore. So we put so much time and effort into that because that's what everybody talks about. When really the money is in the email list. And like, it's a cliche because it's true. Like, I know everyone's sick of hearing that, but it's true. And with SEO, like it's not going to revolutionize your business overnight by any means, but when you set a really good foundation, it's going to serve you for a long, long time. So I found when I started talking about those things, it was really a lot of educating why they're important. And with email specifically, like people get in this headspace that they don't want to be annoying, right? They hate getting email. They don't know what to say. Like we project all of our own crap on our businesses when really your customer, if they signed up for your email list, that's them raising their hand and being like, send me stuff because I want to know how you're going to help me. And that's your invitation. We just have to take advantage of it. So I really love kind of opening that door up. And then once they get over that initial hump and they start to see a little bit of results, then they get all into it and they like nerd out almost as much as I do on it.
Awesome. And some of them, they don't even like have like the win-back flow or post-purchase flow, cart abandonment, like nothing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe generally I'll see a welcome and a cart abandonment, but it'll be really basic and not dialed into their particular customer, right? So the number one service I have and that people really come to me for is I set up your entire email marketing automation from soup to nuts. I do it all. But when I'm doing it, we're really diving into your customer, their journey. Where are they at in each of these steps? And what do they need to hear from you right now to either make their first buying decision or their second buying decision? And so, you know, just like it's great that Klaviyo has like those default templates, you know, you just kind of plug them in, it puts your logo in, like, that's cool. It's better than having nothing, but it's so generic that, you know, when you dig into really the psychology of why people buy from you, so much more powerful.
Do you have any specific frameworks that you follow, or how do you create these flows? What is like the process of building the strategy look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 6 main flows that I always create for any business. So that's your welcome, a browse abandonment, a checkout abandonment, a post-purchase, a never purchased, and then your win back. And I think the 2, let's say 3 most powerful ones, like the welcome series, that's a no-brainer, right? People are like, cool, tell me what you have. If you're going to give me a discount, awesome. I'm just going to go buy. But really, I see most of the magic happens in the browse and checkout abandonments. And I say checkout because on Shopify, right, you have to press the checkout button. It's not cart abandonment, it's checkout abandonment. So the magic really happens there and in the post-purchase. And I think the post-purchase is kind of the most overlooked of all of them. So at this point, you're like, sweet, I got the sale, like I'm good. But your job's not done yet, right? Like this is your chance to make a really amazing impression on your customer. So when I approach the post-purchase email, for example, I'm going to ask myself, what does the customer need to know or understand to have a good experience with this product so that they come back and leave a positive review. And, this was like one of those things where I always did it, but I had a very specific experience that like really hit it home for me.
Mm-hmm.
So this was at my previous job. And there was this new product in the industry, right? And it was making huge waves. It was super innovative. It was so amazing. People everywhere were loving it. And we were selling them like hotcakes. But when I would check in with my customer service team, which I recommend you do if you have a team, or look through your customer inquiries, a lot of people were requesting a refund. And after having conversations with them, what we figured out is it was actually user error, but that's because we didn't do a good enough job of explaining how to use it. So we would be able to talk them through it, right? Through an email or on customer service chat. But think about all like the time, energy, and effort. Like now your customer service team is caught up teaching people how to use this stuff. Like, wouldn't it be so much easier to just put it in a flow that automatically sends? And so that's what we did. And all of those customer service inquiries went away for the most part. So not only are we giving them a really great experience, but we're actually helping our teams and our business bottom line. I actually have a friend who she works for an e-commerce business. It's a pretty big business, right? Mm-hmm. So all of their roles are pretty specific, but her one job, her one metric that she's graded on, whether or not she's doing a good job, is to decrease customer service inquiries. Mm-hmm. That's all she does. So is there new content that needs to be created, a feature that needs to be added to the website, whatever that looks like? So like that's still, it's not your conversion rate, it's not your traffic, but it's still a really important KPI to keep track of. And I feel like that's a great example to just kind of show how all of the little e-commerce puzzle pieces fit together.
Amazing. Yeah, it's about educating the customer. And this also is a great transition to the other topic that we mentioned is SEO. So using these educational pieces can also help you with your content creation and the SEO. So do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And that's, one of the things that we were going to talk about, right, was creating content to attract new customers to your business. And generally, when I'm speaking about this, what I'm referring to is blog content and, SEO. So just to kind of frame this for everyone listening, because I think it helps people understand why this actually matters. So if you think about it, there's really only 3 ways to make more money in a business, right? You can acquire new customers, you can bring your existing customers back more often, or you can have your existing customers shop more or spend more when they're already shopping. Now, I really love to focus on the latter 2 because they're way easier to do. And we're going to talk about a way you can do that. But when it comes to getting those new customers, how do we do that? We post a bunch on social media. We run Facebook ads and interrupt people when they're like looking at pictures of their family, or we hope that people talk about us. But what we forget is that people don't buy products. They buy solutions or confidence or status, right? If they're a luxury shopper. But most of the time they're buying solutions. So when we remember that and we think about how can I actually solve the problem that this customer is having or this person is having, and you create content around that, now you are giving value to people who maybe don't even know you exist, right? They just know they have a problem and then they find you and you gave them the solution. And then once they like connect all the dots and they're like, sweet, this person has the product I need. Like, why wouldn't they buy from you? Because you've already given them value. So really it's about creating blog content, which I think is underestimated on how powerful it is, especially for e-commerce. I think the main reason being is because it doesn't work overnight and it takes time, right? And we all want like instant gratification, and that's definitely not what this is. But I promise you over the long term, it's really like that organic traffic is just, it's worth more than any other traffic, especially when they're coming to a piece of content to solve a problem that they have and you can give them the solution, right? Because those are qualified buyers, not just like some rando who landed on your website. So, I mean, there's so much we can dive into that and give, just some more specifics on how to go about it and some examples, but really SEO, I think too, e-commerce entrepreneurs think because they are small that they can't win the SEO game. And so they don't bother. It's a big, scary word. They don't know how to do it. But I worked with a client. It was probably maybe it's 2 years ago now. I'm not really sure. She sold bridesmaids gifts. And we worked on her SEO, and we actually saw results with her within like 3 months, but she had already had her website for 5 years. So, that's not typical. If you're brand new, it's going to take longer, but we doubled her organic traffic of people looking for the exact products that she sold. And it made a huge difference to the bottom line in her business. So magical.
It's amazing. Can you elaborate about the process? I mean, did you invest more in off page, on page?
All on page.
Queries?
All on page. My favorite place let's focus on like blog content specifically. One, if this is something you guys want to do, go check out these 2 websites. One is the Man Registry. They sell groomsmen gifts. Their content game is amazing. They hold the number 1, 2, 3 spot for terms like, what to get for my groomsmen, all of those like terms that you would think of people would be searching for. And then the other is Beard Brand. So they're a men's grooming company. They were a content company before they ever had products, right? So the founder, he just started creating tutorial videos on YouTube on how he cared for his beard. And then he developed a line out of it that he was obviously able to sell to the audience that he built up. So content is really, really powerful. So definitely go to them for some inspiration. But when you're trying to figure out what to talk to your customer about, my favorite place to go is Answer the Public. Love that website. You put in like a couple of keywords and it spits out all the questions people are asking on the internet about your product. How to this? What do I do with this, right? This versus that. And that's the kind of content that is going to get people looking for solutions. So once you kind of create that, then the trick is you have to like magically slip in your products, right? And feature them in the post. So one of the easiest ways I can explain this, and I always use a CBD example, but let's pretend you have a CBD brand and you market yourself as a product to help you get better sleep. So you can create a blog post like 10 ways to get better sleep, because I can only imagine how many people are Googling that right now, right? Myself included. So the goal here, though, is it can't be all about you, right? It's not all about you and your product. Give them 9 ways that they can get better sleep. And then one of those 10 ways is your product. So you're going to tell them things like turn your electronics off an hour before bed, right? Get room darkening curtains or whatever hey guys, if you have tips on how to get better sleep, please come find me and tell me. This is a bad example because I'm not good at it, but the point is you still want to give them value and be a resource and an authority in your space, but still insert your product in there. So I feel like that's the easiest way to get started with this if you're not already doing it.
Quick favor, guys. If you enjoy these shows and have been a listener for quite some time now, we would really appreciate it if you could take the time to give us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your preferred podcast app may be. Having lots of ratings and audience feedback makes our show become more visible across multiple platforms. And it also supports our mission of helping as many people as possible to become better marketers and better entrepreneurs. So if you're not driving and it wouldn't be dangerous, pause this thing right now and give us an honest review over your podcast app. And we will love you even more than we already do. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And with regards to the amount of content pieces that you uploaded, was it like 10 pieces, 1,000 pieces? Because one of the things that you mentioned, and a lot of people, this is one of the reasons I believe that people don't invest, is they are not sure what is going to be the upfront investment, and the results are taking so long, for at least 6 months, 3 months, depending on the case and how new is your domain. But I mean, when someone is thinking of investing in SEO, what should he expect? How many content pieces should he create? Like, I know it's a general question, but just like
but it's a great question. One, I want to say quality over quantity, right? So Google and other search engines like really good, in-depth, educational content that keep people on the page for a long time. Now, years ago, it was very different. Everyone's like, yeah, you just post a 200-word article every day. Like, that's not going to do anything for you. I'd rather see you do 2 posts a month that are super in-depth, answering this specific question. And I don't remember who coined this technique. Maybe you know, the skyscraper technique, where you find a piece of content answering the same question that you are going to answer, and then you just make yours like 10 times better than the one that's already on the internet. But a really great resource for this too is Neil Patel. Like, if you go to his website and you look at his blog posts, there are 2,000 plus words. They have screenshots and walkthroughs and all of that. So, do it halfway, right? Like, really think, and don't come at it as like, okay, cool, this is a technique for me to get more traffic. Like, no, this is a way for you to help your potential customer and build trust with them. And so if you come at it from that perspective and just do it to serve, you're going to create such better content. And in the long run, it really will serve you so much better. So, and it's also going to depend a little bit on your product assortment, right? Like, the more narrow, the less content you need, the wider the audience, the more customer avatars you have, the more content you'll need. Stick with something that you can be consistent at as well, right? Because the search engines love fresh content and they love to see activity. So just like on social, like, don't post a blog post every single day and then not post for 4 months. Now your stuff is stale. And speaking of which, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Like, as you're doing this for a while and you have really cool evergreen content, you can go back, update it, and then republish it as a new post.
Great. Yeah, it comes up a lot in my conversation. The quote, "The good system you can follow is better than the perfect system that you can't follow."
Yes.
So adherence and consistency is very important. I love Neil's content. The skyscraper technique was invented by Brian Dean, which are he and Neil Patel are like the big SEO guys.
Yeah.
They are great resources to learning more about SEO, off-page, on-page, content optimization, stuff like that. This takes me. I'll do a transition a bit to the next subject that I wanted to cover with you, and it's also about giving more value, but using digital products as addition to your offers, which is a great way to getting more money without paying for the operation and fulfillment. But can you elaborate about what you're seeing these days with regards to creating digital products?
Yes, absolutely. So if we go back to those 3 ways to make more money, right? One of those is getting people to spend more when they're already shopping. I don't know why I keep messing it up. Maybe because it's 7:30 my time. So it's to get them to spend more when they're already shopping. So one of the big things that I always talk about is adding cross-sells on your website. And if you're not 100% sure how to approach this, think about the last time you were in a grocery store or a pharmacy. Like, all of that, those items at the cash wrap, really low price, really quick and easy, like, that is not by mistake. Very intentional. And they're called impulse fixtures for a reason, because they work. So we want to create that same sort of experience on our website. So even if you're not going to do digital products, definitely get a cross-sell app and start cross-selling items on your website. And don't be all passive about it, right? Not those recommended or you may also like on the bottom of the product page. No. We want like a pop-up that says, hey, you may also like this. Maybe it comes after checkout. That's cool too. But the goal here is just to increase your AOV. Now, selling other products is cool. But as we know, when you are selling other people's products, margins aren't great, right? You get better margin on some. Digital products, on the other hand, once you get over the initial investment of time to create it, they're basically pure profit. Like you build it once and you just sell it over and over and over again. Like how freaking cool is that? So as a product-based business, though, you're probably thinking like, what am I going to sell? It's actually not as hard as you think, right? The goal is, let's go back to your customer. What problem are they trying to solve? Why are they buying your product? Is there something complementary you can create? And I'll run through a couple examples. Or is there something you can sell them that will get them to their goal faster? Because people will pay more for quicker results any day, right? This is why we spend money on ads. Like I always ask people, well, do you have more time or do you have more money? If you have more money, pay for ads. If you have more time, start showing up on social media every day and send more emails. So back to the digital products. So let's pretend you sell fitness apparel, right? So what else does your customer care about? Well, they probably care about exercise. They care about, what they're eating, making good meals. So you can create a digital product around, maybe it's a meal plan or a workout plan, something like that. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Maybe it's a PDF. It's got a couple of quick videos in it. The idea here is like, you're not selling a $500 course. You're selling like a $17, $27 like mini course. You want it to be a no-brainer so that as soon as they see that, they're like, oh yeah, I want that too. Click an ad. Want it to be really, really easy for them. If you sell yoga gear, maybe you can sell an audio meditation. So it really goes, it's very similar to when you're thinking about what kind of blog content you're going to create. It's the same thing, right? What is it that your customer cares about? You can also go to Answer the Public for examples or to figure out what people are searching for. And so once you create it, there's a little bit of setup, like digitally, if you're on Shopify, you need an app, right, to deliver the digital product and all of that. But is it going to revolutionize your business overnight? No. But is it going to bump up your AOV a couple of bucks and compound and add up over every order? Yeah. And you don't have to do anything for it. It's like the closest thing to passive income that actually exists.
Yeah. And this can be the difference between breaking even and making profits, depending on your scale, obviously, but it's definitely a great route. Do you have any examples that come to mind of these types of products that you've created lately or helped clients create lately?
Yeah. So a client I used to work with, that's where the fitness apparel idea came from. So she had the product. I don't take credit for the product. She did have it already, but she wasn't really going out of her way to promote it. She actually started out as like an online fitness coach who then couldn't find the type of product she was looking for in the market. So she created it. And then the product side of the business kind of took over. So she just kind of had this digital product kind of sitting there collecting dust. And, what she was selling was breastfeeding sports bras, right? So if you have your workout gear on, you can still breastfeed your newborn. Awesome. Cool. But like, how many of those does a person need? Not a ton. They come, they buy one or two, and then it's not until maybe they have their next kid that they come back again. So our whole goal was like, how do we increase the revenue that we're getting from her existing customers so she doesn't have to be paying for new customers all the time with acquisition? And so we really focused on getting that digital product in front of more people. And we did that through a cross-sell. And so we did see an immediate uptick in the number of people who were purchasing it because probably they didn't even know it existed, right? Like, especially if you have a wide assortment or you have this digital product that's like not going to be in the collection with your regular apparel or whatever else you sell, like you've got to get in front of them somehow. If you don't talk about it, if you don't show it to them, they're not going to know to buy it. So that was really the focus. And because her product too was not inexpensive, right? So they were coming and buying one, maybe two items. We couldn't, if they came to buy a $60 item, we couldn't cross sell them like another $60 item because now we're asking them to double what they intended to spend. But we could sell them a $30 item and that worked really great. So that's probably the easiest example for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. And so This was like a course, some sort of a course, a video course, or?
Oh yeah. I didn't even say that. Yeah. It was fitness for new moms, right? Like how to lose the baby weight. So it was right up their alley and it was perfect. And it was a couple of mini videos and a PDF. I think she threw in like a meal tracker and, little things that here's what I think that holds people back from creating stuff like this is that we take our own knowledge for granted and we think nobody's going to care. That's why I didn't realize that this was going to turn into a business. I didn't know people were going to want to pay me to help them with their email marketing. That's like, who needs that? Oh, a lot of people actually,
Crazy.
A lot of people. I'll never forget one of my very first clients. We were doing consulting, right? So we had this 4-month consulting thing. And I had this spreadsheet that I used to use at my day job to track my daily sales. And I really just love tracking it day after day so that I could easily spot patterns without paying too close attention to the day-to-day, because you'll drive yourself crazy if you do that. Don't do that. And then it had some fun calculations to automatically calculate weekly and monthly numbers. To me, it was so simple. And I almost didn't give it to my client because I thought I was going to insult her. She was going to be like, I know how to track my numbers. Know what she said? Oh my God, thank you so much. This is the greatest thing ever. I never thought to look at it this way. This has really helped me, see my business more clearly and help me figure out where I need to focus. All it was like a lousy Google sheet. So the thing that I thought was just a nothing, somebody else thinks is amazing. And it's exactly what they need right now. So whatever that thing that comes super natural to you, or you've spent years kind of working on and perfecting, that's the thing you can sell.
Yeah, and it brings us back to something that we talked about before going on live, of being data-driven and making assumptions and testing them, because a lot of the time we assume stuff, but we're wrong. We need to
most of the time.
Exactly, 90% of the time. So basically everything should be tested, and you should split test or see the reaction, because you don't know shit. You just need to test everything.
Totally. I just had the other day a social media strategist, right, who I was recording with for my podcast. And that's basically what she said. When it comes down to content creation, she's like, I don't know, we just test a lot of stuff, pay attention to the numbers. And when it has a positive reaction, we just create more of that, because you just don't know. There's just no other way to know until you put it out there. And so whether it's, creating a digital product, let's say you create the digital product and nobody buys it. What does that mean? It means you wasted a few hours of your time. You've probably wasted as much, if not more time, scrolling through Instagram. So it's fine. If it flops, nobody's going to know except for you. So who cares? So just try it out and see what happens. You know what? And it's the same thing with email marketing. You just have to try. I think I said this earlier, right? Most people feel like they don't know what to say. Just say whatever. And if it resonates, say it more. And if it doesn't, say something different. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal. I think we make it so much harder on ourselves. And I know it's really easy for me to sit here behind my computer and mic and say it. Don't think I don't struggle with it too. I mean, every person who creates content on the internet struggles with this. I think it's just part of being human, but we're all just doing the same thing. Just test it and see what happens. Today on my Instagram, I posted a picture of myself and I was talking about how I just bought a house. I couldn't believe it because I live in Los Angeles. Real estate here is insane. You know how many, a lot of people unfollowed me today. And I'm like, sweet. So I posted a picture of me and you unfollowed. What does that say about me? But it doesn't say anything about me. It just means they probably followed me because, I don't know, some other post and then realized what I talked about is not relevant to them. So they unfollowed me. So who cares? Because they're never going to buy from me anyway. So we just need to remove the emotional attachment to what we create. If that's my long-winded way of saying that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you can't really know what's going on behind the people.
No.
Maybe it's envy. Maybe they're not interested in stuff related to real estate, or maybe it was a glitch in the algorithm, so it showed the post more to people that are irrelevant. I don't know. It can be you can't really know.
You just don't know.
Everything is like a black box, so you don't really know. And with regards to the digital products, one thing that you can do is creating an upside from the downside and clarify. So once you create it as an upsell offer, and assuming it doesn't work, worst case, you can put it in the offer, in the primary offer, like add it to your product that you're selling as a bonus. Yeah. And then it might increase your conversion. So it's not money going to waste. You can always use it as a free gift or whatever.
Yeah, that's great. Great point. Even as, a content upgrade on a blog post, it's a really great way to grow your email list. All those blog posts we talked about it doesn't have to be even something super fancy. Maybe it was just one piece of that digital product you created. Like maybe you can break it up into just a couple of different content upgrades and use it to grow your list of people who are looking for the solution that your products provides. Like that's the best audience.
Wow, we covered a lot of stuff. So I want to start wrapping up. We talked about the SEO, we talked about creating content, we talked about the digital products. So I feel that we covered a lot and the listeners got a lot of value. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you would like to mention before we conclude the conversation?
Yeah, I just want to say, we were kind of talking about this before we started recording, like wherever you are at in your e-commerce journey, because I have seen this with people who are just starting out. I've seen this with people who are already doing $2 million in their business. Stop looking at what everyone else is doing and just keep your eyes on your own paper. And if you are not sure what you should be doing next, right? Because I know it's overwhelming. There's a lot of moving parts and you see, this business is killing it on TikTok and this person talks about Reels and this person's doing this and that. And you feel like you got to do all the things. Just take a step back and go talk to your customers. Do a survey, see what they're commenting on social, see what inquiries you're getting through your customer service email. If you have salespeople or customer service people who are talking to them, like just go to your customers, see what they're looking for, what do they want, and just give them that. You're going to learn so much more by talking to them and digging into what they need and want versus looking at everyone else. And then, the last little thing I'll say about that is there are a lot of businesses that from the outside look like they have it all. They have a ton of revenue. They've got lots of, social media followers, beautiful photos. And for all you know, the CEO doesn't even pay themselves and they're actually broke. Mm-hmm. So just because someone is doing something and it looks successful does not mean that it is. These
are two great points. With regards to these points, so one of them, one with regards to being jealous or envying someone.
Yeah.
So I like what Naval Ravikant said, that unless he's willing to change his whole life, all the aspects of his life with the guy he's envy of, so he's not willing to switch. So basically, because you only see like the business aspect of this guy, but maybe he's losing sleep at night. Maybe he doesn't have a good marriage or whatever. So this is one point. And the other thing with regards to what you said, to talking with your customers and improving the product. So I started looking a lot on lectures from the startup world, because I believe the startup world has a lot of solutions that the e-commerce game hasn't evolved there yet. And I saw a lecture in the Y Combinator Accelerator, and the woman that gave the lecture, she said that founders only need to speak with their customers and improve the products. That's all they have to do, which is exactly what you said. And it resonates a lot. Only speak with your customers and improve based on their feedback. That's all. All the rest, you should delegate, outsource, automate, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Delegation. Delegate as much as you possibly can. I will admit I'm not great at that. I have a VA that I am like racking up a lot of unused hours with because I'm not good at the delegation either. I'm a work in progress. What can I say? But yeah, that's so, back in the day when I was a teenager hanging out at the mall, because, suburbs of the States, you don't really got a lot else to do. And there were always people there creating focus groups, right? To ask questions and do surveys around products, because the only person whose opinion matters is the person you are trying to sell to. And I've had, clients that I work with before where, they're like, oh, well, my friend said whatever. And I'm like, well, is your friend your ideal customer? No. And I'm like, then her opinion doesn't matter. I always use the example of like, would you take financial advice from a broke person? Probably not. A girlfriend of mine, this was years ago when we were both single and like dating. And one day we were like, why are we taking dating advice from each other when we're both single and not successful at this? Like, maybe we don't know it all. So yeah, this applies to all aspects of your life, friend.
Exactly. Great. Awesome, Jessica. Where can people find out more about you and connect?
Yeah. So my business name is eCommerce Badassery. That is also my website. That is also my Instagram and my podcast. You can find me in all of the places. And I also have a little gift I'd like to give the audience, if that's cool with you. So
for sure.
If you go to eCommerceBadassery.com/EcomXFactor, I'm not going to tell you what's there, but it's really cool and you want to go check it out, I promise.
Awesome. Great. Great. Thank you so much, Jessica. Keep in touch and we will update you as soon as we publish the podcast. And obviously we'll have the links in the show notes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
Awesome. Bye-bye. Hi guys, this is Yaron again. Just a few more things before you take off. Number one, if you want to learn more about e-commerce and marketing, make sure you check out our YouTube channel, which is called EcomXFactor Official. Number two, check out our Facebook group, which is called EcomXFactor Marketing and E-commerce Mastermind. This is a great place to ask questions and connect with other business owners. And last but not least, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with your friends and colleagues, plus leave a review at your favorite podcast app.